Hello friends, today I'm going to solve LeetCode problem number 347, top k frequent elements. In this problem, we have been given an integer array nums and we are also given an integer value k, and we need to return the k most frequent elements from our integer array nums, and we could just return the answer in any order. So here in this example, we are given the array nums and the value equals to 2 for k. So the output here is equals to 1 and 2. And why is the output 1 and 2? Let's see. Since the value of k is equals to 2, we need to return the two most frequent elements, right? So that means which are the two most frequent elements. The first most frequent element is equals to 1 here. The second most frequent element is equals to 2. So basically we found our two most frequent elements, right? So that is what we return. We return those keys, only the value of that element in the form of our array as output. In this case, we have just one number and the value of k is equals to 1. So the output here is also equals to 1. Now let's look at the constraints. So the length of the nums array varies from 1 to 10 to the power 5. The value varies from this range, and the value of k is in the range 1 to the number of unique elements in the array, which means that the value of k will not exceed more than the number of unique elements in the nums array. Suppose, like in this example, we just have one element here, but if the value of k was equals to 2, that would be an invalid question. So here in this case, the value of k cannot be more than equals to 1. Similarly, in this case, the value of k could be at most 3 because there are 3 unique elements, that is 1, 2 and 3. But the value of k cannot be more than 3. So that's what this problem is about, and this algorithm asks us to solve it within O of n log of n time complexity. And let's see how we could solve this problem. So here we are given this nums array, right? So let's look at this problem with this given example, and the value of k equals to 2. So how do we identify the most frequent elements? For that, we need to know the frequency of each of the unique elements in this array, right? So we need to create a map for that. Map to store the frequencies of each unique element, right? Now in this map, let's just create the values. So what will be the value? For 1, the frequency will be equals to 3. For 2, the frequency will be equals to 2. For 3, the frequency will be equals to 1. So now we have the frequencies. How do we calculate the frequency? Well, to calculate the frequency, we will start from the first element in this array, and then initially the value of frequency for each of the element will be equals to 0. So now we found that element one time, the frequency will be increased to 1. The next time it will be increased by 1 to 2. The third time it will be equals to 3, and so on for other elements as well. Now once we have the frequency, in this case, we just know that the first two elements in the map are the first like the most frequent elements, right? The two most frequent elements. So how do we actually get these two values? What if in case we had this value 3 at the top? So in that case, we cannot take the first two elements, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to sort the value, the elements by the values, that is sort the keys by the values. So what we will do is sorting would be performed using the values, right? I already taught that we sort the keys by the values. So what is the value of 3, it's 1. The value of 1 is 3. Value of 2 is 2. So while we sort, we are actually forming an array. So we sort, and then the most highest frequency will be in the first and the least will be in the last. So now we get the sorted keys by their frequencies. Now we only need the two most frequent elements, right? So we only need the first two elements, because the first two elements are the one with the highest frequencies than the rest of the elements. So we are actually going to slice this array from 0 to the value of k, which is 2 equals to here. So this will result in an array which only has the first two elements, and this is our final answer right here, as you could see here. So that is how we are actually going to solve this problem. We create a map to store the frequencies of each unique element. Once we have the map, from the map we are going to create an array which is sorted based on the frequencies of the keys, and the array is actually the keys, not the frequencies. Those are the keys. So now these keys are sorted in descending order. We'll take the first k elements from the array, and that will be our result. So now let's write our code. So we need a map, so let's create a map, empty map, and then fill the map with the values, key and values. So here our key will be the nums. If the map doesn't have the key, then we are going to create that key which is initially equals to 0, and then we will increment the value of key every time we encounter it. Since we encounter this for the first time, the value is equals to 0, and then the count at that first time is equals to 1, right? 0 plus plus is equals to 1. So that is how we find our frequency. Now once we have found our frequency, we sort this map, the keys based on the values. So how are we going to do that? So let me just create a variable, and then our map, we are going to convert it into an array. So first we're going to convert it into an array of keys, and then those keys will then be sorted based on the values. So sort those based on the values of those keys. So since we will be sorting it in a descending order, what we'll do is we take the value of b minus value of a. So we are going to use this lambda function here to sort it in the descending order based on the values, right? Map b will give the value of the key b, and this key b and key a are will be the values of this array. And then once we have sorted, what we need is we just need the first key elements, right? So now we will slice it for the first key elements. So this array actually is our final result. So we return our final result, that is array. And instead of doing this, what we could do is we could just directly return this and remove this extra variable that we created. So now let's try to run our code and look for any errors. Okay. Oh, so this would be keys. All right, let's try to submit it now. Awesome. So let's look at the time complexity. For the for function, this iterative function, since we are iterating over each of the element in our nums array, and if the length of the nums array is equals to n, then this would be O of n time complexity. And here in this case, forming a map is O of n time complexity. And once we have formed the map, we then sort that map, right? So sorting is n log of n, so that would be a total of n plus n log of n, and then we slice it over k elements. So this whole will be n plus n log of n plus k, but we are just going to take the maximum out of all those those variables, right? So that would be total of n log of n time complexity here. So the time complexity e becomes n log of n, and the space complexity is O of n, because we are storing each of the elements in our map. And if someone doesn't understand what I have done here, so since our map here is a literal object, it's not a JavaScript map object here, so we need the keys of that map object, right? So that is why we do object dot keys. If we wanted the values of this map, then we would have done object dot values, and if we wanted both keys and values, that we would do object dot entries and map within the parentheses. And this triple dot is it's called as what's called spread it's called spread yeah, it's called spread something. I just forgot that. I'll write down in the description below once I remember it, or you could just comment it on the comment down below. Okay, so hope you like this solution. Let me know in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching this video so far.